Did Israel Adesanya win $500,000 here we're talking about, in ex-girlfriend Charlotte Paldrow's legal case? I'm seeing this situation resurfacing. If you guys don't remember, about a year ago, Israel Adesanya, who is a Nigerian-born New Zealand mixed martial artist, right? He's a pro. Man was the middleweight champion. He was trending because his ex-girlfriend, who he had broken up with after only dating for about a year, was demanding some type of compensation after the divorce. Around that time, there was a lot of that weird stuff that was going on. There was a lot of weird stuff that was going on. And you know what else was going on? This, right? You had Ashraf Hakimi and his win when it came to the France family court system, where his wife tried to get this man's assets following their divorce, but they couldn't, because the assets were hidden under his mom's name. Now, were they actually hidden? Was this all on purpose? Did he foresee this being a contingency plan for the possibility of him getting got in divorce court? I don't know. What was surprising, though, and what surprised everybody, is that that shit worked. And since then, there's been a lot of conversation encouraging men to maybe pursue this route, so on and so forth, right? What does this have to do with Israel Adesanya? Well, there's this post, and this is sort of a fact check that I saw, millions of views, and they were talking about how she took him to court and she somehow has ended up paying him $500K. Turns out it's false. Turns out it's not true. But what is believable is the conversation that was had, that was very viral last year, of her looking for some sort of compensation, right? She thought that she contributed to this man being successful and probably expected him to pay in some form, maybe dispute over property or whatever. How do we know this? Well, there was a story post that he deleted that was pretty much kind of was in line with the time that they broke up, where he was saying, hey, I don't owe you money. I don't owe you this or that. And so people were wondering, why would she think she's owed anything? She's just a girlfriend. That being said, I think like this is a pretty good conversation to have. So first things first, Ashraf Hakimi's situation, though successful, is not the situation we have here. This is false. It's not true. If you go look up the story right now, you see a lot of people who are debunking this, and it's some made up news. I do think, though, that there is a conversation to be had about, is this the way that men should go when it comes to protecting their assets? How does this compare to, of course, right, we're not talking about like not getting married at all, because people say, oh, just don't get married. Okay, so people are going to get married who value marriage. That's, whether you like it or not, it's going to happen, right? For those men who are starting families and value marriage, is this the way to go? How does the Ashraf Hakimi situation compare? And by the way, if you don't know who he is, he's a Moroccan soccer player, footballer is what the rest of the world calls it. But is that a reliable strategy? I was really glad to see that this was covered by none other than the lead attorney, with this video that was titled, Divorce Attorney Reacts, Wife Crushed, Women Outraged as Ashraf Hakimi Wins Huge in Divorce. Now, this is a long video. I'm going to actually have my AI assistant, Barista Miss Coffee, summarize this video by the lead attorney. Miss Coffee, can you share the summary of this video, specifically from the perspective of how does this approach to protecting your assets compare to something like a prenuptial agreement? And will this work in the States? We got to remember that this whole situation was held in a different country, and I believe that was France.
Would Hakimi's put everything in mom's name tactic work in the U.S.? In theory, it can be done. The attorney points out that many people, especially those who are undocumented in the U.S., e.g., some immigrants, often put property in someone else's name, a parent, sibling, or friend, because they cannot legally hold title. You see this outside divorce too. But for divorce purposes, it can also shield or hide assets from a soon-to-be ex-spouse if done far in advance.
Interesting.
But it's risky and not guaranteed. U.S. courts generally look at the substance, who actually earned the money, rather than just whose name appears on the title. If a judge decides you transferred assets solely to prevent your spouse from receiving them in a divorce, especially right before filing, this is typically called a fraudulent conveyance. Courts can undo or claw back those transfers. Additionally, putting your assets in a parent's name gives your parent true legal ownership. If the parent has debts, changes their will, gets manipulated by another relative, or passes away, you might lose everything you thought you had safeguarded.
Okay, so that's a good point right there, right? You got to take into consideration, because you've seen situations where people who are married, one of them wins the lottery. We had the situation with the wife that won like millions of dollars. She breaks up with or divorces her husband and does not tell him about the funds, probably tries to hide them. And it's illegal to do that with the plan of you preparing for divorce and hiding those funds. So I guess when Miss Coffee, from the video that she's summarizing, which is the lead attorney's video, is talking about whether this will work or not, it sounds like it depends on the perception of how it looks like in court. Did you do this right before your divorce, or is this the way just your life is set up in general? Is what I'm thinking would attribute to that being more of a solid legal stance in court.
Timing is everything. The attorney emphasizes that if you move money or property out of your name very close to filing for divorce, a U.S. judge is almost certain to declare that move fraudulent.
Okay.
If the assets were gifted years prior, or if they were always in someone else's name from day one and never in yours, then undoing that arrangement becomes more difficult for the spouse. However, you still face risks, e.g., your parent deciding to keep or divert the assets. Child support still must be paid. In the U.S., hiding or gifting away your salary to someone else's account does not absolve you of child support obligations. Child support is generally calculated on what you earn, not how much you claim to own at the moment of divorce.
That's a good point. Now, that's a good point. That's a good point. Because if you think about it, if he's earning millions of dollars, and we see this a lot in child support stories where men would talk about how they're being charged not on even what they're currently earning, but their earning potential. And so they're looking at, okay, those pay stubs, right? But when they hit, doesn't matter if they're going to a different account. It's like, this is the money that you're making.
Bottom line on Hakimi's approach in the U.S. It can be done, but you run big risks, both legal fraudulent transfer lawsuits and practical losing control of your own money if your parent or sibling mismanages or appropriates it. U.S. judges prefer to see a straightforward division of marital assets and do have tools to reach hidden or fraudulently transferred property.
Interesting.
2. Is it better to get a prenuptial agreement? Yes, far simpler and more reliable. The attorney repeatedly stresses that a well-drafted prenuptial agreement is the cleanest way to protect your property under U.S. law. A prenup clearly states what is separate, yours alone versus marital, subject to division, how any appreciation in value is handled, how income is classified, and much more, all before you tie the knot.
All right, so that makes sense. Says here, the attorney repeatedly stresses that a well-drafted prenuptial agreement is the cleanest way to protect your property under U.S. law. A prenup clearly states what is separate, yours alone versus marital. And, you know, how ironic. FathersHaveRights.com features the lead attorney. So you guys can go get this guide that I put together for free, right? Free guidance, 100% free, you know, free information. If you need it, if you want it, go check it out at FathersHaveRights.com. Let's keep listening.
No risk of losing control. Unlike gifting your property to a parent.
And free with offer code review, right? 100% free. No catch. 100% free. Go get it.
Where you might lose ownership forever. A prenuptial agreement lets you keep the assets in your own name. You just designate them separate property in the event of divorce. There is no worry about your parents' will, your siblings' debts, or whether a judge might claw anything back because it's your property from the start, just governed by the prenup terms. Clear cut in court. U.S. courts will uphold prenuptial agreements if they meet basic requirements. Each party fully discloses finances. There's no coercion or last-minute surprise. Each side ideally has independent legal counsel. So long as it's signed properly and isn't unconscionable, a prenup is infinitely less messy than having to litigate whether you fraudulently transferred assets to your mother. In short, Hakimi's strategy under U.S. law, legally possible but very fraught with danger. Judges can unwind suspicious transfers, and you risk losing your own assets if the holder, your mother, a relative, or friend doesn't safeguard them, or is pressured to hand them over to your spouse. Get a prenup instead. The attorney's fundamental takeaway is that a prenuptial agreement is more reliable, more transparent, and still protects you. It avoids the risks of fraudulent conveyance claims and the hazards of letting someone else literally own all your assets. Ultimately, the attorney views the put it all in mom's name tactic as much more common than most people think, but also legally riskier and more complicated in a U.S. divorce than simply signing a solid prenup.
You know, at the end of the day, I think the decision, right, rests in you. If marriage is something that you value, it's all up to you. I'll be honest with you. I'm actually surprised that this, based on what the lead attorney there was saying, is more common than people realize. I was surprised. I thought that this is something that would definitely not be possible in the U.S., but it's always great to learn something new. Moving on, we have Kendra G here, who appeared on Earn Your Leisure. We're going to check out this video titled, "Has Social Media Created Unrealistic Expectations in Relationships?" I have to keep up with the Kendra G saga just because it's like a train wreck, and you know how it's all going to end. Unless, of course, she drinks the coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Now, this question on unrealistic expectations.
Okay, let's get that out. So
let's talk about that.
So a lot of the women, I'm gonna start off with the women, but I'm gonna go to the men too, because a lot of the conversation is focused on women with unrealistic expectations. So I gotta tell you this, my show changed me. I'm not the same person that I was 5 years ago. I've talked to at least 15,000 single people now. So now I learned a thing or two.
Hold on. Are you admitting, and let me know if you guys think this is actually her admitting that Kevin Samuels was right? And it took you 5 years of you doing the same wrong thing over and over again, ending up unmarried, no man in sight, to figure that out. This is not just about Kendra G, it's about every other chick out there who finally and eventually learned this too late. Do you agree that this is an admission of I was wrong? You know, women don't admit it. They can't do it very plainly. You have to read between the lines.
Most women want a man of you guys' caliber. You know, you guys, I'm gonna give you your kudos. You're successful men, you're attractive men, well-spoken men, black men, you know, do well, you do for the community. They all want you. Now, it doesn't matter if she's rich or poor, fine or not that attractive, they all want you. Now, we know the truth of the matter is you guys represent, really when it comes down to it, not the larger portion of the masses. You guys literally might be 10%, might even be less than that. You might be like the 5%ers, the 1%ers, but it doesn't matter because 100% of the women all want you. So what happens is, what I've learned is social media has given people insights to other people's lives. So every girl wants a man that makes bare minimum 100K, has to be attractive, faithful, prefers no kids. If she has kids, love her kids like they are your kids. Treat her kids like you created her kids. Show up for her when she needs you to show up for her. Go to church with her every day. Don't ever speak to another woman. Always be available, but work so much that you can fulfill my lifestyle. It's crazy.
Kendra G's laughing at herself. No, you're a part of that group of people. Like, why is she laughing like she's not a part of that group of people she's talking about, bro? She's like, they're crazy, aren't they? Yeah. You're a part of that.
I'm saving listen, my next invention is the AI guy. I'm going to make the 6'6" AI human-like man because it's literally the only man that represents this. And I think that
Didn't I just talk about making an AI dude? Well, I told you guys, one of you guys should do it. A couple people reached out to me. I don't know, man. A lot of, I'm not saying, I'm not delusional, guys. I know she didn't get that from me. I'm just saying a lot of people are seeing that these women are delusional. They're going to fall for anything, probably AI too. But I'm hearing there's going to be coffee drunk here without credit given to KS, who tried to help her in the very beginning. I'm not going to pause it much any longer. Let's keep listening.
I've come to learn is women get really offended because they use settling. I hate the word settling because if you say, "Oh, you're saying I'm not good enough for a man that makes 100K," it's like, and their argument will be, "Well, I make that or more, so it only makes sense for me to require a man that makes what I want or more." Logically speaking, I get that. I don't have a disagreement there. But the part that they're missing, which matters the most, is that man doesn't date the same. A lot of times, the wealthy man or the man that has the money, he doesn't want a broke girl, but he has enough. He goes into it knowing he's paying for everything, right? So even though you have a certain lifestyle, this man in his mind, I still got to pay for everything. So your money doesn't matter that much as you think it does. Sometimes the man, and y'all can speak to this because you guys are men. I don't want to talk for men. And these are you represent these men and you have these friends. Before I even answer, you guys tell me the answer. Do men that make a lot of money, do they care about the woman's money?
No. It's a yes and no question. No, nobody is looking at, okay, but it is beneficial if somebody got something going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of goes to the, you don't want a broke girl, but now you said no. Why'd you say no, Ian?
Because if I know with my acumen and investing in business, if I care about her enough, I can get her whatever back she needs off my acumen.
Okay. So that means you could, so for you, so what's most important to you? I'm not even sure. Are you in a relationship? If so, I'll back off.
She's trying to date this man. Are you in a relationship? Are you looking for a wife? Man, I know. I'm a fool.
Okay, you are.
But you can ask your question.
So you have.
Let me ask Ian a question, because last week you said if something is draining.
That's a dangerous question to ask a man of means. Are you in a relationship? You know how many chicks looked at their phone who are watching him? I'm not going to say he has them in a rotation, but who knows? You know what I mean? That's just a dangerous question. He's still trying to recover from that, bro. Am I in a relationship? Are you serious?
You financially, you should
gotta let it go. You gotta let it go.
But you just said you could finance somebody's life.
I didn't say finance. I said with my acumen, I can give them the tools to be able to go get their own bag.
Oh, so you teach them how to trade.
Yeah, and for sure. Like
I got it.
AKA, I'm not a trick.
Thank you for clarifying.
This is great journalistic integrity, but for real, like even in this situation now, knows how to trade futures, knows how to invest, does real estate. Cool. So it's a lighter load, and there are certain conversations I can have, which I think is really dope about these conversations, and then go over to talk about the Hang Sai or the German DAX. Like, I think that's a dope vibe. Have I taken a stray cat off the street and tried to clean her up before? Sure. Not my bag anymore, though. So
you won't do that anymore. So she got to have something. Okay.
She has to have a passion, for sure.
So I know I'm here to be interviewed, and look, I always be turning into the interviewer, and I'm going to answer the questions, but I don't want to miss this moment.
This is how Kendra G carries her relationships. I know I'm here to be a wife, but I always turn into the head of the relationship. I know I'm supposed to play the background, but I like being in the spotlight.
Because you guys are like I said, you are the men that most women describe. So it'd be best just to hear from y'all. So Ian, what matters most to you when it comes to seeking a woman partnership?
Peace and love.
Peace. Okay. Peace. Why do you say peace? You know you will get peace if you don't cause chaos. If you don't cause chaos,
This man says peace and Kendra starts yelling. I promise to stop pausing it, but I can't.
Women won't make the house crazy.
Part of that is true.
That's not true. Some people are toxic. Some people are toxic, and no matter how good you are, they love the drama. The fact that they're still toxic.
Yep.
Okay, so when I think of peace, I think of, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, I haven't called, like I called you, you didn't answer the phone all day. And I couldn't be able to get in contact with you all day. 9 o'clock comes, you're not gonna have peace. Because I'm like, where the hell was you all day? Is that a justifiable, non-peaceful moment? Or in that case, would you say, no, I still deserve peace?
No, I would say my bad. I was trying to line up something for Invest Fest. I'll do better next time.
Rashad, why you laugh?
That's why you
Now
say it
what?
like that? Like, no, I still deserve peace.
No,
Well,
because
everybody, hold on,
you-
all right, let me say this. Let me say this. What you choose to put up with is up to you. That
For
doesn't
sure.
mean that you should disrupt somebody's peace. I think I should have peace no matter what I do.
No matter what
Yeah.
happens.
No matter
Yep.
what happens. If I don't call you for 6 weeks, I think I still deserve peace. You
6
deserve
weeks is crazy.
You deserve
Hold
to
on.
be happy. No.
Wait,
But what
time
I'm
out.
saying is, hear me
Hold
out.
on.
Hear me out.
That was a wild point. He said 6 weeks. 6 weeks. So hear me out. Hold up.
Now that's up to you to have boundaries as far as what you will accept and what you won't accept.
Yeah.
So if the behavior is unacceptable to you, then you can make a decision to no longer be in the situation. I always look at it like I'm not being with somebody that I got to argue with. Because if I got to
Ever.
argue with you, then there's issues, right? We don't need to argue. If we have to argue, we don't need to be together.
Facts.
okay.
Because it's really
I
about
agree.
approach.
Go ahead, Ann, I'm
I get it.
Because if you say, hey, I know you're busy. I'm busy too. I care for you. It's 9 o'clock. I would love to hear from you if you have a break. Only take a minute. I can handle that. But the attitude of why the being caught? No. Gotta go.
Gotta go.
Okay.
First violation is wrap this shit up.
Okay, two things can be true though. So Rashad, I agree with that, right? If you have to have boundaries and if the actions are not aligning to what you want to accept, back away. But when it comes to the peace part, what if the conversation is about to not cause peace? Like you gave an example of 6 weeks. I haven't heard from you, Negro, in 6 weeks. Like,
That's
what's up with
crazy.
that? Some men will say just you asking that conversation is taken away from peace.
6 weeks is a wild. It depends on it depends on what you're working towards, right? And this is why I always say context and knowing yourself is so important. You have to know what you want as a man. If you're the type of dude who's just going with whatever, then you're going to have whatever happen, right? You're going to have chaos happen. If your goal is to establish a family and marriage is the goal, then going without talking to somebody for 6 weeks obviously isn't going to contribute towards that being successful. It's just not. You can sit there and argue about how it makes sense. It doesn't work. You have to talk to somebody if that's your goal. Now, if you're just casually dating, it's whatever.
Because why would you even bring up you haven't talked to me in 6 weeks? And that's the part I can't get with. Like,
It's not what
because you
you
can
say, it's
ask
how
the
you say it.
question that then causes the argument. So she shouldn't even ask the question that is not right. Like, okay, I haven't heard from you.
No, you shouldn't ask. You know why you haven't heard from me? Because we're on a 6-week basis.
What?
If I'm just saying, I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about me. I'm just saying hypothetical. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying in general. I'm just speaking in general, right?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, so if this is like not your girl.
Well, there's a thing called the relation. There's a marriage,
Right.
There's an engagement. There's a relationship.
Then you got the work.
There's dating, and then there's a casual vibe. There's a casual vibe.
Yeah.
Too many casual vibes think they're
Want
in a
the
relationship.
wifey treatment? Yes.
That's facts.
You're not in a relationship. You're a casual vibe,
That's
and
facts.
you signed up to be the casual vibe.
That's facts.
So
Yes.
you got to hold some responsibility here.
That's true.
Oh my God.
They're 100% right. What do you guys think?
First of all, I'm happy we got clarity because I knew that's what you meant when you said peace, because all men say this. And really what peace means, don't bring up a conversation that will take away from peace. So as Rashad said, even though I haven't called you in 6 weeks, you should know in your mental why I haven't called you in 6 weeks. So when I talk to you 6 weeks later, you shouldn't ask the question, where have you been in 6 weeks? You should decide whether A, to answer the phone or not answer the phone. Is that what you're saying is the answer, Rashad?
Yes, because you haven't called me in 6 weeks either. And like I said, I'm not talking about me personally. I'm just saying in general.
Right.
It takes two to tango. So if we on this situation where neither one of us communicate, well, you haven't called me in 6 weeks. You haven't texted me. You're not texting me every morning saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Da da da. So
Yep,
we
you need
both have an
anything,
unwritten.
yep.
You know what it comes down to a lot of times. Nobody ever talks about this aspect of it. A lot of women have passive aggressive attitudes because they don't communicate, and then they want somebody else to communicate. What you want, you should do. That's what I learned in life. If you want something, you should do it. So if I want you to talk to me every day, I should talk to you every day, right? If I want you to, like, too many women are just don't talk, they don't say anything. Kendra's telling herself, be quiet. You're supposed to be quiet right now. And just nod your head. Anything, they expect the guy to do something, the guy's not doing it, and then they feel away because it's like, damn, like, you're not doing this. Well, you're not doing it either.
Yep.
Well, a couple things. I want to go back. I know we're just giving a hypothetical scenario with the 6 weeks thing, but in that case, what if she did text you like, hey, how you doing? And then you don't respond to 6 weeks later? Because let's say she gave the alley-oop, she reached out to you last, and then now you come back around, and 6 weeks is big, but it could be 3 days, 4 days, or whatever. That causes a conversation of, let's talk about this. And I think that men don't like the conversation of, when you did something out of pocket, this is going to take away. We're not going to have a peaceful moment because I got to call you out on this. Now,
oh my God. If he hasn't gotten back to you in 6 weeks, then he does not take you seriously. Right? There's no serious conversation. There's no, to you, a lot of chicks look at these situations and think to themselves, oh, we need to talk. We need to talk about where we're going. You've seen where we're going. He said, hey, you're a 6 week type of chick. You're not an everyday type of chick. What does that mean? He can only bear to stand you for 6 weeks. Now, instead of hanging around and praying and hoping one day he might just somehow stop drinking coffee and marry me. Instead of doing that, you should accept it for what it is and move on.
How I approach it could be deciphered. I could agree with that. But you can't just say, don't ask me where I haven't been in 6 weeks. You know what it is, Rashad.
No. You don't. No. Let's put it in perspective. First of all, if you text somebody and they text you back 6 weeks later, there is no relationship.
There's no relationship.
Right.
Okay.
You should have enough common sense to
Read
know
the room.
This isn't a person that's taking me serious, right?
Okay.
Now, what I'm saying is more so on the lines of, we don't talk at all, and we might talk once every 6 weeks. So in that situation, you can't hold somebody accountable. You can't hold that person accountable because you've accepted that you yourself have signed up for this casual, it's called casual dating, right?
Mm-hmm.
You yourself have signed up for it. So I just think that there's too much blame that goes on men in this society.
Here's the deal. Transparency, I respect, right? So if you are a guy who's always honest and saying, this is what it is, I'm not really looking for nothing serious.
No. That's part of the problem too.
Thank you. And I was hoping he would catch it because I was gonna say it. Look at her. She doesn't like the fact that he was wagging his finger like that.
It's not it's not about transparency.
No. Okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
The real Kendra came out right there. That's why she's still single. It came out right there. She said, "Oh, time to be feminine, be soft."
Not always about transparency. It's because most people are not communicating. This is what I learned in life. Most people don't communicate, and then what ends up happening is that there's assumptions that's made based off of actions. So most people are not saying this is what it is. Most people just go into a vibe, and then it plays out how it plays out. Now
That's a mistake, though.
That's some bullshit. No, I gotta jump in. That's some bullshit, Rashad. Let me tell you why. Because you can't blame the woman then, because now she's going off of hope, right? Because if a guy is selling to her, right now, I don't want anything serious, but this can grow into something. I really am feeling you. He's planting the seeds that more is to come. So this woman, whether it be right or wrong, she's going off of his words, and that I don't respect. But if a guy is transparent and says, listen, right now, I just can't, I really can't give you all that you want, but listen, I don't mind spending time with you when I can. I can respect that. The no conversation, the no clarity, you cannot get mad at the woman because she doesn't know. And now you're telling her she shouldn't even have the conversation.
Listen, man, If you're out here dating, you have to accept the fact that dudes are going to run game. They're going to run game on you. Not every man has the guts, or call it the honor, right? Because here's what's crazy. I actually would take the approach of keeping it real if I had that mindset. If I had that mindset, I'll keep it real. But not every dude's going to do that. Some dudes are going to wait till they get what they want out of the situation, and you have to know that as a woman. You have to know that. The problem is these chicks want to sleep with these men, and then when they get hooked mentally, because women aren't able to separate love and sex, right? They start falling in love with these men, and they don't respect their biological nature. They end up in situations like this that are messy, when you should have been looking at them and being more conservative, strategic, intentional. Watch a man's actions, not just men. Look at most people. Look at their actions and not their words. Sure, words have a place and there's some validity, but at the end of the day, you have to look at people's actions. Do they match? That's the advice. But women want men to say, oh yeah, men need to do, they're not going to keep it real. They're going to use you the same way that you use them for coffee dates, the same way that you have the guy in the friend zone who you know wants the cheeks. But you sit there and go, well, that's not what I want, but you know what he wants. But you still waste his time knowing that he's sitting there waiting for the day that you finally may give him a chance and marry him, so on and so forth. Women do it too. That guy, that simp who's taking that friend route, he's naive himself, right? Sitting there and hoping and wishing that one day she's going to take you out of the friend zone and take you seriously and somehow be attracted to you. It's not going to happen, bro. Same thing goes for this whole entire situation.
But what about the times when it is communicated and then they still feel away?
That's the part I agree with. If it's communicated, that's respect. Like, now you know what it is. He didn't lie to you. She didn't lie to you. Now you can make an honest decision on how you want to proceed.
By that time, they've already slept with the dude. They're in too deep.
But what Rashad said kind of is what most men do. They kind of keep it cloudy. They don't tell you all the way that I'm not really into you. This is not going nowhere. They kind of keep it,
of course,
like, level of, no, this has the opportunity of growth. So women
look at them both looking down. They're like, yep, guilty. Like, we both
will sit there, because most women are hopeless romantic, and especially if it's a guy they really would desire to be with, right? Like, you are the type of guys that women are going to be hopeful for, but that's not right. You got to be honest with her in order to get the right reaction from her, because she deserves that. And I think then you can't get mad.
Most women are not hopeless romantic. Most modern women are delusional. Men are hopeless romantics. Men think that a woman will sleep with you underneath a bridge if she loves you to death, and ends up realizing that she probably will leave if she's angry, sad, or upset, or if you aren't providing financially, right? Men are the ones who love without the same level of expectation and effort that women expect. That's the truth, which leads us to our next topic here that talks about exactly that.
If you don't know, I left my husband a year ago, and I've been wanting to come on here and give a life update of a year from now and what my life looks like. And I've been hoping that I would be able to come on here and tell you guys that life is just great. But it's not. It's still really hard. I wanted to have my shit more together. I know that this isn't the truth, but I just feel like I'm failing so much as a mom. I know that that's not the truth, you know? But life is so hard. I just got to spend 11 and a half hours with my baby, and it was just the most sweetest time. I hate that I feel this way, but I miss my mom so much. I miss my baby. Life is not where I want it to be a year later.
this is very unfortunate. It's sad, very sad for the child involved here in this situation. And TikTok's an interesting place, right? Because you have a woman who will post a situation like this. It sounds like she has lost people in her family. It also sounds like she left her husband. And she thought she'd be doing so much better. But the reality is that she is doing badly. And what's interesting is the next video I'm going to show you guys is of a woman who's getting ready to leave her husband. And we see the same cycle happen over and over and over and over and over again. You have comments here of people who are responding back and says, you left your family, you failed. No one cares, never happy, never satisfied, so on and so forth. So she's here responding back to these people. How did you guess? Let me guess, you're a nurse. How did you guess? So here's what I think is crazy, right? You have this video pop up, and I saw this, and the next video I see is of a wife getting ready to leave her husband. I'm like, you can't make any of this up.
I just got done therapy, and I'm starting to have to realize that I have to live my truth of, I don't want to be with my husband anymore. I am constantly feeling like I'm being held down. And part of that is codependence, where his energy is impacting my energy. But like it does. Like, I know everyone's like, oh, have really strong boundaries. Like, other people shouldn't impact you. But like, I don't think that's reality. People impact other people. And I need to accept that I got with my husband out of potential. He had the potential to be a great earner. He had the potential to be a great father.
So now he's wrong because you saw potential in him. Notice, though, she says she just got out of therapy. And therapy, the conclusion that's come out of therapy is that you got with him for potential. He wasn't good enough. You needed a man who was already made. It's unbelievable, man. And I'll always stand firm on this. If you're a guy today and marriage is something that you value, and yes, both can be true, take measures in some shape or form to protect yourself legally, right? I'm doing my best to give people resources. Head over to fathershaverights.com to get the #1 guide to drafting a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement. I'm glad I can say that because that's something, right? There's no fail-safe approach to any of this stuff. But hearing stories like this is just crazy.
And you know what? All of that is true. He is a great father. He is a great provider. He's not a great partner. And that's not really because of anyone's fault. It's just our personalities don't really jive. Like, I am chaotic and wild, and I love that about me. And for the longest time, he, anchored me. He held me down because I couldn't regulate myself. But I can regulate myself because I am an adult now. And he tries to let go of the anchor, right? But then when we live our own independent lives, I realize, like, I don't really want to intersect with you much. Like, what's funny is I think we already do what we need to do to be good parents, but he's not giving me the time of day. He refuses to sit down with me. Everything's my idea, right? He doesn't initiate anything.
A clown nose is what she's painting on her.
I would be fine doing everything on my own. He just makes things a little easier with childcare and money and money. But is that enough? I don't think it is.
So when you come back on TikTok crying after you've publicly shamed and embarrassed your husband right here in front of all of us to see, when you follow through with this divorce and you come back crying your eyes out talking about, oh my gosh, like this chick, right? The last lady we just saw, oh, everything's so hard, this, that.
Just the most sweetest time.
I can't believe this. When men sit there and they just don't feel bad for you, remember this video.
And so instead of being like, oh, do I want to be with him? Do I not? Oh, well, he's kind of good. Oh, this, maybe he'll change. He won't. And if he does change, it's not at the pace that I am changing. And I am changing so rapidly.
Wow.
I'm flying away. I'm flying away. And if he tries to tether me, it's going to snap. Like, I need to fly away. And I don't know if that means, like, absolutely living apart from each other, but I do know I need to adjust my expectations of, if I want a clean house, I have to clean it. If I want dishes put away, I have to do it. I can't keep expecting him to do these things because he's not, and historically has never, no matter how much I've nagged, how much I've threatened, how much I've screamed, it has not been done. So I have to do it. Doesn't mean I have to do it forever, but for right now, for the most peaceful transfer, I just have to start accepting that I want this dissolved in whatever fashion. The goal no longer is to be together, in my mind.
Tears are on their way with the quickness. And of course, she has the support of other chicks who are been struggling in their relationships. Of course. All right. So this female commenter asked a very good question. She says, how are you putting this on the internet thinking he won't see it? LMAO. Somebody else respond. Oh, she says, this isn't a secret. I've spoken this all to him. I showed him this video. This is how I proceed and work through emotions. I just allow people to witness my processing in real time. So you process your emotions and things you go through by posting your personal life online. I hope you're okay with everything that comes with. This isn't, the internet's not a fairy tale place. People are going to give you their real perspective. Here's somebody else who says, I stayed far so long because of comments like a lot of these. F it. If you want to leave, that's reason enough. What the hell? Somebody else here says, I feel sad for him that you have posted this to the internet. Sigh, it sounds like he deserves better. Oh, there you go. Here's somebody else who says, the good guy trope often really ends up meaning that mediocre men get more credit than they're due because of the bar is in hell. So here they're trying to justify him being a pretty decent person from what it sounds like, and her initiating divorce. Somebody else here added, oh honey, stay and fix where you are. It's not much better out here. Wow. I'm shocked. They're on here trying to warn her. They're on here actually trying to warn her. This is not something you see a lot. Maybe they saw the previous video we just saw of the chick crying inside of her car. Stay married, live separate lives. What? That's terrible. It sounds like he is harvesting your energy. She'll be back. She'll be back. She's building a following, and she will be back for sure.
Y'all notice how Lizzo told y'all it's okay to be big, and then she went to go lose weight? You notice how she set y'all up like that? Yeah, did y'all notice that? Or was that just me? You notice that these celebrities will always tell you to live a certain way, and they don't live that way themselves. You notice that? You notice how Cardi B told you, I don't cook or clean, but let me tell you how I got my ring, but then the ring is gone? You see how celebrities will tell you to do something that they don't even do? You know how Cardi B said she don't even let her child listen to her music because she knows that what she's singing about is wrong. And that's not how she wants to raise her daughter up. But she'll raise y'all daughters up like that, though. Yeah, she'll raise y'all's daughters up like that, yeah. But she ain't gonna raise hers like that. You notice that? You see where I'm going with this?
I see.
Y'all gonna get enough of worshiping these celebrities like they're God, baby. Y'all gonna get enough of having these idols. You're gonna get enough of bowing down to these celebrities. You're gonna get enough. Tell me who your God is.
So she's talking about Cardi B and all these different celebrities pretty much pushing a certain narrative and agenda to the masses and really not living that in real life. In fact, Cardi B is not the only one who actually uttered the words, which should scare a lot of women out here who empower these chicks to continue to do this. But she's not the only one who actually said, hey, I don't want to raise up my kids like this, while she's teaching other kids to be like this. Not Summer Walker, it was Young Miami. Young Miami also made the same statement. Yes, we're talking about P. Diddy's side chick, who she's probably now claiming the side chick, even though she wasn't before. She thought she was in a real relationship, but now she probably wants that side chick tag.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
But yeah, they all said the same thing. They all said the exact same thing. And I have seen Lizzo. I've seen the weight loss. Here's a photo right here. The singer showed up in a body-hugging gown. I, at this point, think to myself, is Lizzo really some sort of activist? Or is she just a very shrewd businesswoman? And this is what I mean. She will move with the culture no matter where or what it calls for, as long as she's benefiting in some shape or form, no pun intended. Knowing right now that the culture is tired of all this body positivity, doesn't matter if you're fat, so on and so forth. She knows and has read the room and has thought, okay, that's it. I'll lose weight, revamp my image, and that's how I'm going to survive this new era. Not because she actually believed the things that she said, that it's okay to be big and beautiful, no, but because she knew that that would garner her attention and a following. And now she's realizing that she may look dumb because people aren't really sipping the tea like that. And she has the type of mindset and personality to just switch up. Right? That seems like a real cutthroat entrepreneur to me. That seems like a real cutthroat entrepreneur mindset to me. What do you think? Comment down below. Of course, I'm curious. Top comment says, Jesus is all we need. Amen. Somebody else here says, put your trust in God and these, not these phonies. Here's another person who says, I heard someone say that rappers will send children to prison or the grave while they send their kids to private school. Very true. Here's another person who says Lizzo was acting like she liked being fat. Lies. Here's somebody else who added Beyonce, single ladies. Here's somebody else who says Cardi B is not responsible for what you let your daughter listen to. I don't think that was the point. The point wasn't that. It's not like blaming Cardi B, so to speak. It's asking people, are you really that slow? Because Cardi B got married, or you see Nicki Minaj and she's married, while these chicks out here are trying to downplay marriage like money and success is more important than it. When you see all these successful boss babe chicks are looking for husbands, it's got to mean something. Here's somebody else who says this is a whole word. Here's another person who says to purposely miss the point has to be an art form. What's she talking about? All right, so that's my whole stance on this whole Lizzo situation. I have noticed that she is losing weight.
Like, I feel like a lot of the U.S. need to just start losing weight. Notice, I didn't say get skinny. I just said lose weight. And people are really upset with Lizzo, and partially, I believe that it is jealousy because they couldn't do it. But I saw on Threads too, somebody was like, oh, people get on Ozempic and they're willing to lose their pancreas just to lose weight, just to fit in with society. You should be willing to lose an arm and or a leg, because that's what you about to lose if you don't get it together anyway. You ever heard of like diabetic amputations? And people will die on the hill of literally, oh, I'm healthy. No, you're not. To an extent, you are for now because you're young. But notice, there's not a lot of older people saying that. It's called morbidly obese for a reason. It leads to mortality. Like, this is not a game. And as always, I'm only saying this because I care. That's why I got my degree in public health. That's why I studied nutrition and food sciences. That's why I got my master's in data science, specialization in health research. That's why I worked in cardiovascular research and so many research domains.
I think it would actually be really interesting to see like what's next. Is she going to inspire the overweight chicks who did support her to actually lose weight? Or is it going to be them kind of being upset about her losing weight? I think that's going to be interesting. You know, losing weight is tough. If you've never lost a substantial amount of weight, and I've been there, I've done that. If you've never done that before, then you really don't know what it takes, right, to be consistent and to lose that type of weight, which is why it's always, especially if you're doing it natural without the Ozempic, so on and so forth, without any like the surgeries and just pure discipline. Pure discipline could be a challenge. It could be a true challenge, but you can do it. You can change your life. You can suffer, right? All it takes is a good 4 to 5 months. You can turn into a literal new person. I just recently got back into working out, you know, with like family and keeping up with things and everything. Life changes and, you know, you have moments. No one's ever consistently perfect the whole way through. But as long as you get back to it and work on yourself, then you be good. Listen, guys, of course, I'm curious to know, what do you think? Leave your comments down below. I appreciate you checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pod. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.